So I had this interesting experience today and yesterday.
What was the experience, man?
I started Osho's dynamic meditation.
Oh shit. Oh, we're recording, by the way.
Fuck.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'll include
Yeah,
this
that's fine.
section in the conversation. So you said there was dynamic meditation.
No, that's fine. You can start it whenever you want.
So what's dynamic? That's why, because like you said, as soon as I heard Osho, I was like, wait, I have to give you this disclaimer for sure. So what is?
Yeah, no. I was feeling pressure to start the conversation because you were stretching, and I was like, should I start it? Like, it's a weird thing. Like when I don't know, as an actor, like when something starts, like you feel obligated to like start.
It.
You know what I mean? You can't just be chill. Like, oh, we started.
Yeah.
I felt pressure to start. I don't really even need to talk about that.
Oh yeah. No, man. I mean, I was just like stretching a little bit. I think it was at that point where everything was set up and then we were looking at each other and I was like, shit, I got to say something to start things off. But I was like, shit, there's some level of inertia right now, bro. So wait, what the fuck is dynamic meditation, man? Sounds pretty crazy.
Can I just laugh for like 3 seconds? Sure. That's the last out of the way. Half of you is like BFF college buddy and the other half is like, oh, this is a podcast.
Oh, bro.
My brain can't handle it. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So where were we? And the third half is like focusing on external objects, and then that makes me realize that there's no third half. That's not possible. And I'm talking shit. You're asking me?
People are going to start thinking you smoke weed, man.
I don't.
They're going to come after you, man. They're going to fucking start knocking on your door. And shit.
Yeah. There's so much I want to say, but you're uploading this.
So, man, say what the fuck you have to say, man.
Have you heard that? Like, look, I know the world's going through a very difficult time and all of that, and like countries in crisis. For some reason, I can't stop listening to someone who made an EDM remix of Arnab Goswami saying, "Mujhe drugs do, mujhe drugs do, mujhe drugs do."
Dude, he does this to himself, man. He screams so much, man. I've never seen anyone in real life screaming that much. Like, like how much you see that guy screaming in a week. You probably fucking see in real life, you probably see people screaming like that like once in a couple of years. It's crazy if you think about it, man. Like one guy screaming so much and he's getting so much airtime. Bullshit, bro.
And it's really draining to scream that much. Just thinking about it the other day, man. Like as a normal person, think of the last time you went out for a party, right? And you're singing really loudly.
Yeah.
Chances are you did that for 3 hours, you lost your voice, right? Even as a performer, if you scream that loudly for a day, 2, you will lose your voice. Yeah. Hear me out. I think there's some level of vocal technique that he has, and he's a witness to what he's doing. He's not like lost in the flow of rage. You know what I mean? How can you scream that loud so many nights in a row, day after day, and not lose your voice? Have you ever heard him with his voice lost? I mean this. I genuinely mean this.
I think there were a couple of segments where he screamed so much he lost his voice, but I get your point, man. Seriously, but I get your point, bro. I get your point. Like it's like he probably consulted one of these vocal coaches and all. Like and he's like, "Mujhe chillana hai." And then
or show par bhi, or show par bhi.
सब जगह चिल्लाना है मुझे. अर्नब तुमको सांस लेना पड़ेगा. And then Arnab is like, you can see his stomach fucking go. Blow the fuck up before he's about to scream, and he's doing it with a complete 100% technique.
Yeah, I'm going to watch him like a hawk next time and see maybe he's got like his larynx really settled and he's taking a full breath before he screams.
No, I can't watch it. Have you tried watching Republic TV?
I can't anymore. I can actually literally, without jokes, do like 5 minutes of it and then...
Bro, I watched it 6 months ago when I was watching the Delhi elections, man. I was watching it like a few months back with my roommate. And when I was watching him, dude, after I was done watching that 10 or 15 minute segment of him covering absolutely nothing, I felt like overstimulated, man. Like, you know how when you play a video game for like half an hour, 45 minutes, like a violent video game, like a shooting video game?
Yeah.
I have that exact same feeling because he's talking very loudly. He's arguing with someone. He's calling people names. there's all kinds of letters, like red color things flashing everywhere, right? It's full of text, like words, like, and
Right.
like it's all big bold text with a lot of red.
Right.
And a lot of people
Yeah,
look
right.
like they're on attention, they're surprised, they want to get your attention, like what the fuck is going on there. And just that whole
Right.
combination of things is just too much for me to handle. I completely get
Yeah,
why
no.
bored, like a lot of older people who are bored really tune into some of Arnab stuff, and I can
Right.
completely get why people go there, man.
I mean, it's the equivalent of us playing video games, watching Stranger Things, like that's level of stimulation. Or not Stranger Things, but some sort of like horror flick or something to get you really like wired on a dull day.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but it's a sensory overload, right?
Too much.
With the colors, the sounds, the emotion, the topic. It's so like saturated. I'm sure it has its place because it works, but not for you, not for me.
No, it doesn't
At
work
least
for
in
me.
terms of receiving news. In terms of receiving news.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I don't even know. Like, I don't even think. I think somewhere we've conflated news with entertainment, man.
Yeah,
Like,
and I think it's, I don't know what you feel, but I don't know if you remember, like when we were young, we had the 1 hour of news every night, the news at 9 and the news in the morning, 2 hours.
yeah.
But, like there was a normal channel that has a news hour, but I think as soon as they started 24-hour news,
Yeah.
You suddenly then have to fill 24 hours with news.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you have multiple channels doing that, and then you have to stand out plus keep your 24 hours engaging. So you keep trying to get better at
getting people's attention.
Keeping that engagement.
Yeah, you're trying to basically, and then you have to fucking get people's attention, but there's only limited amount of information. So everything becomes breaking news. Everything becomes the most top priority thing. And suddenly, like, it's an issue, man. I was also talking.
Did you see the video of? Sorry,
go for
ahead.
It, man. Which video?
Did you? It just popped up on social media the other day. I saw the video of Kangana Ranaut in the plane coming to Bombay. Did you see that?
No, like people. Oh, that thing with the people around her holding, like, barricading her from attacking shit.
No, not that. That's all cool. But some passenger on the plane uploaded a video. I mean, that's comparatively cool. In the world we live in, that's comparatively cool.
Yeah.
You're right. It's not.
So someone took a video. Cool. What happened?
No, but in the plane, I didn't. Like when you see that picture of her at the airport, you like infer certain things. But I didn't think of what that plane journey was like, because as soon as journalists found out that she was leaving where she was to come back to Bombay, journalists were on the same flight with mics, with cameras, constantly asking her questions on a flight. Ridiculous. And then you can, and this is some passenger who uploaded from her cell phone, which is online now, but you can literally hear the pilot at the end of it. He's like, please do not behave like children. This is not a school. We have announced that no cameras are allowed during the flight. Like, sit down. And then as soon as they land and the no seatbelt goes off, like the journalists go ballistic, and it's unreal. And you just like a constant bombardment with question on a commercial flight. It was just on the topic of like, journalism and trying to be first, trying to show more.
That's disgusting.
Trying to be that close to the news. Yeah, it was horrible. It was horrible to see that. Like the whole issue aside, that was just like, you're like, whoa.
Yeah. This whole situation, I don't even know, man. Like this whole situation with this person, like I know we were talking about it, and what we said was, like, I don't know if it's someone trying, like there's two things that could happen, right? Either you're trying to come up with something, with some information which doesn't really exist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're trying to get people to look at something because you're diverting their attention of other, bigger, more important, worse issues, more dire issues, like, the economy, COVID situation, things like that.
Right.
So that's one thing where basically someone's pulling the strings and trying to get you to look at something else completely different.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also the possibility that people are actually fucking curious about things like this.
Right.
So which one is it, man? Like, are we
I don't know, man. What do you think? I genuinely don't know. I think it's a mix. Because all the people in my circle, or the people I interact with, though they would put up statuses saying that it's a smokescreen, like saying that it's a diversion. They're still talking about the diversion in casual, like, coffee table conversations. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we talk about how it's a diversion, but if I'm sitting in the living room in Alibag or here with family or friends, we're talking about these diversions in detail because it's maybe at some level talkable. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you think it's this? Do you think it's that? So even those who are aware are, you know what I mean, right? They're still talking about it.
Yeah, and I guess it's easy for us to have an opinion about the situation. It's easy for you and me to have an opinion about the situation. But if I were to ask you, do you know what's happening with the economy? You'd be like, fuck, I don't know, man. Like, it just looks like it's really bad.
Right.
It's harder to find an expert to talk about the economy. It's way easier to get some fuck to talk about, like, some celebrity.
An emotional opinion about a celebrity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even
interesting point. Yeah.
It doesn't even put you at risk with the government and all. So I was speaking to my friend Dave, who's a journalist, and he was saying that a lot of these systems and like a lot of these processes work on, like, nobody wants to be blackballed. That's how like media self-censorship happens. So like if there's some topic which the government won't like, the government doesn't censor them like deliberately, but what they do is they kind of make it harder for them to get an interview from someone in government. They'll kind of get them out of that circle. They'll be like, these guys are the troublemakers. I don't want to speak with them. It'll be harder for them to get important interviews, people speaking with them. And then later on, there's issues of licensing and things like that as well at a later level. So what happens is that these guys then end up self-censoring themselves, saying, fuck it, I don't want to talk about these issues because I don't want to land in trouble with the higher-ups. And that's how they kind of just censor themselves over a period of time. So if people are thinking like there's somebody behind the strings, like kind of telling these news networks what to say, it's not as direct as that. But it can be almost as sinister, man.
Yeah, it's one of those strange things because I've seen it without taking like names of what and who, but I've seen it. Like it's not overtly stated by the government, the authorities, whatever, but people in a position of power, but a smaller position of power, say in the entertainment industry, who wouldn't want to be in good books for the government of the country, right? So they would take a decision in that way. It's never said that you can and cannot do that, but it's kind of maybe gently passed off in a conversation and done. And I've heard of that firsthand. But yeah,
it's weird, man. And also like, so who was saying it's easier to do a debate than it is to do like a deep dive of an issue? Because if I'm doing,
I think you were like 3 minutes ago.
Was I? No, man. I think I think it was Dave only who told me this. And he definitely said that, these debates are, what these fucks do is they basically, because when you're getting a debate, you're getting a bunch of people in a room to talk to each other, right? You're getting these people to say, so you have no responsibility on what they say, right? They can claim whatever asinine bullshit and it's on them and their organization. So you have like a bunch of, these bhakts talking about like all kinds of shit about Muslims and things like that. You have like all these fundamentalist Muslims also talking all kinds of shit about everything else. But the thing is that the moderator doesn't need to take responsibility for what's being spoken about on that platform. So this person's talking all kinds of bullshit and, everyone's like, oh yeah, this is fine. And the news agency may or may not be held responsible for that. But if a news agency puts up something as news, right? If they say something about Hindus or Muslims or about any kind of thing, and they do that, that puts their journalistic integrity on the line. So even in terms of risk, it's less risky to have a bunch of fucks debate over all kinds of bullshit than actually publish the news themselves.
Because you lose account, you're not accountable. Plus, you're sort of like a broker. You in either way. You profit either way. I didn't think of that, man. Very interesting structure.
Yeah, it's got some crazy shit, man.
Yeah, we live in strange times, man. I feel like it would be so like talking to you actually. I think because you study so much and you've got a good understanding of like research and statistics and interpreting data. And I mean this seriously. I was talking to someone on the terrace about it yesterday. Is that it's so different when you have like an opinionated emotional argument not based on facts, because then both people are just right in their beliefs, as opposed to when you talk to someone who's familiar with data, on the subject, numericals, actual facts, because then the output is so much clearer, and then you can actually come to a common ground if two people have different opinions based on something solid, grounded in truth. I remember like just a simple thing, but like at the start of Corona, it's not even related, but just like how sometimes like data helps. Remember, I asked you, I said, how long do you think gyms would be closed for? And this is when India was 150 cases.
Yeah.
And just by your basic understanding of news in the rest of the world, numbers, population of the country, how we function, you said at least August.
Yeah.
When the government was saying a 1-day lockdown, you know what I mean? And at that, a day before that, you said till August, and you were like spot on. But that was data driven, looking at things around, understanding that.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? Not an opinion of whether the virus will disappear overnight, not an emotional opinion on what you feel sentiment is, but just based on other things.
Yeah, man. I mean, mostly it's because how that happens is I just rely on information sources which work well. Right. So, for example, if there is an expert in a space who's decided to spend 30, 35, 40 years of their life fucking fighting out about this one minute, like microscopic organism which like nobody can see, but they can only see it through microscopes, and has spent like decades researching that at the cost of like not getting like a crazy amount of money, just for the passion of science and things like that. Like wearing like,
I was going to say not getting laid.
You don't know, man. There might be some rockstar microbiologists out there. And so these guys are probably like who I'd want to listen to when you're talking about like what's going to happen 3 months from now, as opposed to some truth who tells me, you know what, do one thing. I want you to step out into your balcony and bang a bunch of vessels. That's going to help. No, man. Like, I would rather listen to someone who actually makes sense.
No, for sure. Share these sources with me, man. Like, when it comes to fight or flight, I've taken the flight approach to media. I just run away from all media.
Dude,
but
that makes sense, man.
I need to at least be educated with like the right facts.
Right. The problem is nowadays it's very hard to actually determine what is the right fact, man. For example, like, so a fact is a fact. But how do you know a fact is a fact? You can't. Like the way it used to work was we had like these set institutions which no one used to fuck with, who used to give us information. And maybe we weren't skeptical, but we used to trust where the fuck the information came from. But now you can't trust that anymore, right? Like, so now...
it's like the thing I sent you on WhatsApp the other day. A very small, friendly example, but like that on a larger scale.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it seemed so true to me. Like, I was like, yeah... And had you not identified that, it would have gone on to 100 people as true, entirely true.
Yeah, not exactly that. See, that is an example of like misinformation, right? That's an example. So basically, what you sent me was a picture of Albert Einstein's rejection letter from that university,
right?
And it just so happened that he did actually get rejected from the university, but the details of that letter were incorrect.
Right.
That is when, but here's the thing, both of us know and acknowledge that it was incorrect, right?
Right.
Now the thing is, there are certain pieces of information which people agree upon, right?
Right.
And there's a lot of pieces of information that like causality of which is not agreed upon. For example, India's economy is in shambles, right? We fucking know that. That's something we can't deny. What a lot of people will argue over is why that happened. Now, a lot of people most economic experts say that this whole downside of this whole process began with demonetization. A lot of economic experts agree upon that.
Right.
But there's going to be a huge push from the right-wing side, which is going to say the real cause of this is because of the corona COVID virus. Even though there is enough data to point that this thing was not so...
It was happening for a year before that, or at least 8 to 9 months before that. Yeah.
And
they didn't release some data that year, right?
Yeah, we did. We released some weird they delayed the data till the end of the election or something like that.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
So, basically, what happened was like the sources of information were different, man. So, like, what's going to happen is that there's a bunch of people are now going to start arguing with each other upon the real cause of it, and that's going to be fucking fueled by Twitter, all these opinion posters, all these fucks, and it's like we can't agree upon causality right now because we have such differing realities.
Right.
And it's happening everywhere, man.
Yeah, I'm curious to see, like, with like big news houses, and then I don't know what the correct word for it is, but like micro information, like influencers online or experts in the field. Anyone can be a news broadcaster in some sense. And news travels instantly online on Twitter or social media. I wonder when that whole dynamic will come to some sort of new consolidated equilibrium. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a question.
I think many places it already has. There have been a few. There are a lot of these YouTube publications now who YouTube, like news agencies. Would you consider that? Are they as effective as a traditional newsroom? Maybe not. But I follow some of them, and what I bank upon is like that person's opinion. So I trust that person's opinion, right?
Right.
And because I trust that individual's opinion, I'm more likely to listen to them in the future. And the thing is that they have themselves a track record by virtue of the following and the things that they say, and they have their own political position. So I usually follow moderates, like on the center of the aisle in any space. And they usually kind of put both points forward. And if they make a prediction, I understand, like, they're giving me the news early, they're giving me all this information beforehand. So it is prone to error. I accept that. But but I also trust that they have the responsibility for giving me the right information. And there are some great guys on YouTube that can actually do that. That's
awesome, man. That's awesome. Share those with me.
Yeah.
But what's been up otherwise, man? How have you been?
All good, dude. I was don't think I missed. Do you want to talk about Osho dynamic meditation, man?
Yeah, fuck.
What is that, bro?
Pick up my energy. That's actually you read my thoughts. Yeah, man, it was really cool. I have a friend who goes to the ashram, and she was telling me about the meditation, and in some strange sense, they're very similar to like exercises you learn at acting school.
Yeah.
And I'd always seeked to find an exercise that was like this, and then found that it already existed. The dynamic meditation. So I tried it yesterday and today, just 2 days. It's nuts. It's insane.
What is it,
one of the craziest things I've tried. To start off with, it's 1 hour and it's physical. So you're like jumping, screaming, shouting, kicking, breathing non-stop for an hour. It's insane, and you feel the results so profoundly, so soon, so completely, so totally. And I dropped that. Wait.
You're good, man.
Is the frame okay?
The frame's perfect.
So it's a crazy, crazy experience, man. It was really exciting to try. For the first time, I feel like I found a grounding or a spiritual practice. I mean, this exercise, not the practice. I don't know much about the ashram, but I found a single practice that I feel is connected to modern day life and conducive to that. It was really nice. It's a great feeling.
Is it the same kind of meditation where you're moving, you keep moving, and then once you notice that you're getting into a pattern, you break it. And then you keep moving and you keep breaking it, you keep moving and you keep breaking it.
That's it. It's called absolutely. It's called dynamic meditation. So the first stage is when you break your, and I'm no expert, this is just 2 days of doing it, but it's amazing. I'm just telling you what I've experienced from what my friend shared, what I've done. But the first part is you break your breathing patterns. So you break the patterns that you have of breathing. And that's 10 minutes, like really intense. And you're supposed to go like all out. And then the next 10 minutes is catharsis. So where you jump, scream, shout, kick, beat up your pillow, yell, cry, laugh, whatever, but with 100%. For another 10 minutes, like all out, 1,000% intensity for 10 minutes, just releasing physical tensions and screaming. And then the next 10 minutes is where you raise your hands over your head, kind of like Elliot Hull's biodynamics. Elliot Hulse, I mean, for those who are watching, is a fitness trainer who believes in like bioenergetics, amongst other things. So you raise your hands over your head and you take that deep breath going all the way through. to your navel, and you say hoo hoo and keep jumping with those vibrations to get your breath connected. You do that for 10 minutes, and then is 15 minutes of silence where you stop in that position, whatever position you're in, and you do not move at all for 15 minutes. And you just stop. You do nothing at all. Just stop. And then after that, and now you're like 45 minutes through, you feel like you're gonna die. The other 15 minutes is celebration. So there's some music and you dance however you want. All this is with your eyes closed.
That's crazy, man. And how are you allowed to think? Like, what are you thinking in that do you allow yourself to think in any way, or you bring yourself back to your body every time? What do you do?
So one of the key things, which is kind of challenging actually, is to you need to be a witness to the process. So it's kind of weird, because at one point, it's all about being total, totally giving to whatever you're doing. Yeah. But at the other time, you have to still be a witness. You can't just lose yourself. So that's kind of where your awareness is. That's pretty interesting. Can you totally give but still be aware of what you're doing?
So you're not only it's not because mostly in the more cerebral meditations, you're watching yourself, right? In this, you're doing and you're watching. So it's probably more demanding.
And you're doing in totality. You're doing in the most extreme form. Yeah. Whatever it is the most extreme. The silence is extreme silence. Not even a cough, sneeze, scratch, blink, nothing. Just stuck. Or the shouting is 100%. So that's pretty interesting. But then what do you feel when you're silent? It's a different kind of peace, man. It's a different kind of peace. It's not and I've tried other meditations and I've tried other breathing techniques. Yeah. That's a cerebral quiet, the other ones that I've tried. This is a deep, deep level of quiet. It's you've, can't even explain it. You're quiet, but you're very connected to your body in the moment.
I want to try this,
man. Very connected to your body in the moment. Yeah, man. I totally recommend it for anyone who, it is physically intense, but for anyone who's up for that. Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
And where did you learn this through? Online?
There's some videos online, and then my friend guided me through a couple of pointers. There are videos explaining it from the ashram, how you're supposed to do it, and an audio to listen to, and then she guided me through a couple of things to be vigilant of while doing it. But it was so cool, man. It was so cool.
Yeah, that's some freaky shit, man. That's really freaky. I tried two things out of those. I tried that pattern, break the pattern, and the breathing. So I didn't do the last two steps. I guess that might help you with some more yin energy.
Yeah, I think
the
so.
Holding stay in it. Yeah. The other things are very aggressive.
Yeah.
The second half is more
cooling and rejoicing. And yeah, absolutely, man. How's meditation going for you?
Fuck meditation, man. I've been meditating a few times, in different times of the day, whenever I feel I want to get back, and I'm suddenly realizing that anything can be a meditation, man. It's a big. I've been not in a weird way, but I don't mean to overgeneralize. I'm not saying that anything can be you can't meditate at everything you do, but in a weird way, anything can be a meditation. For example, I was
no, I agree with you, man, 1,000%.
Yeah. For example, I was cutting some clips a while back.
Right.
Now, usually I multitask while I'm cutting clips, so I'm listening to clips and then I'm working on something else.
Right.
This time I was you know what? This is not helping me make the best decisions for anything. So I'm just going to do one thing at a time. I decided to watch the clips. And I realized that I was now starting to slowly cut off any distraction from that main work, which is very unlike me. So I would every time I went to my phone, I would be wait, you're going to your phone, come back. So that whole process of stop and come back, bring your consciousness to a task that you're doing every time.
Right.
That is super useful. So that is meditation, I think. at the core of it.
Right.
I mean, at least the way I see it
Right.
now. Maybe it'll change later, which it will. But it would be to get yourself to center,
Right.
and then gently keep yourself there. Just keep yourself there. If you veer off, it's like a kid running around.
Right. Right.
Like, you know, the kid's innocent, but you have to guide it. So you kind of just say, go this way, go that way.
That's a sweet analogy for the
mind.
Man,
you're being because I've seen a lot of and initially also I was very aggressive with myself. Like, what the fuck you doing?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you try to out-muscle yourself. Try to muscle your consciousness into...
Which actually creates more tension in some sense, right?
And causes...
The view of out-muscling yourself, as opposed to treating it gently like a child.
Yeah, and causes kind of like self-hate, man. You don't like yourself then.
Yeah.
Fucking be like, why am I like this? Can't I do one thing right? All those thoughts start coming in. But if I'm just gentle with my meditation and just with myself in general, then that shit doesn't come in, right? Then I'll be like, it's going to happen slowly, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I feel like that's the ultimate. Do you remember Vinod Vidwans talking about it?
Yeah.
For everyone listening, Vinod Vidwans is a very cool professor that we had in university who knew the entire Bhagavad Gita by heart. He could quote line by line, shlok by shlok, one amongst many texts. He also had created an algorithm that creates a new tune on its own every single time and never repeats tunes. And he was from what? Was it IIT or IIM or both? He has some crazy background.
I think he was from Mica, but I'm not sure.
From Mica? But he had something before Mica. And he also could be found for several hours a day staring at a flower in the garden in college. But he had such an awesome energy. Point being, he had said in one of his classes, he said like there's different kinds of meditation based on your personality. Yeah. Some people are more emotional and respond well to devotion and surrender. Some people are very cerebral and respond well to like an abstract concept of the universe. But he said a lot of people, like in I think arts and like physical activities as well, respond well to any activity itself with full concentration being the meditation itself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what he had said in one of his classes.
First of all, we got to just dispel this myth, man. I want to talk about this with you right now, right here. Did Vinod Vidwans tell you that he's seen people levitate? Or that he could did he say he could levitate or that he's seen people?
I believe him, man. I believe him. He was talking about siddhis in Yoga Sutra of the Patanjali. But I believe him, man. I believe him. He also told me that he only drank milk. It was the only thing he ate till the age of, I think, 8.
I was there, dude. I was there.
You were there?
I got so freaked out, man. I was like, what the fuck?
And I think that led me on a chain of experiments to see how much milk I could consume. I don't know if you had the same. I became lactose tolerant from lactose intolerant at that stage, increasing my consumption of milk 1 teaspoon per week. 1 tablespoon.
I was about to ask, are you sure you just didn't get dehydrated? No, man.
Oh, man.
So shit. So wait. So
I think I also got dehydrated.
No, but did you actually see him? Like, did he say he levitated or no?
I'd be misquoting here because I don't remember. I remember the levitation, but I remember him saying with 100% certainty that it is possible and that he has either seen it or experienced it. I think he said seen, but I wouldn't be surprised if he said experience. And I believe him, man. I believe him.
Yeah, I mean, a guy like him saying that, he's a sage, man.
Yeah.
If you remember, were you there in his philosophy class?
Yeah.
You were there?
Yeah. Philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita, I was there, or another one?
Either one. I think there was one with Thorat where Thorat couldn't come anymore because he had some work. So he...
Oh, yes. I remember that. It was in the first classroom on the right.
Yeah, then what happened?
When you come from Hado.
The first classroom on the right. Yeah, I think it was Chanakya. No, Tagore.
Tagore. It was in Tagore, right. Exactly.
And we would... I remember for the first 2 or 3 classes, he was just sitting on the desk. And we were like, what the fuck is going on? He's like, sir, aren't you going to teach? He's like, no, you ask me. Like, ask you what? Like, no, ask me anything. I said, what are you talking about? And then people got mindfucked. They're like, we want to leave, man. Like, so people are like, for the first two classes, everyone left. Right. And then it was just him. I think him, you, Jehan was there, I don't know, 3-4 of us, and him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we were just sitting and staring at each other, and then he was like just looking at you and smiling, and it was too awkward. I'm like, fuck this, let's leave, man.
Right.
This happened the first two classes. And then I think the third or the fourth class, shit got intense, man. Because we were bored, he was bored. Like, we were like, fuck this, let me ask her. So people started throwing questions at him. And slowly he started kind of unraveling the Gita through those question and answers.
I remember that. I remember that.
Do you remember some of the stuff that we spoke about?
I remember some of the stuff. I remember in Yoga Sutra, not in that class, but I remember that class very clearly because I remember that was my first introduction to the Gita. And I remember him with the slide behind him.
Yeah.
And someone else changing the slide to catch up to where he was, but he was reciting the shloka and he knew the shloka number and it was 700 and something. And I think I asked him, do you know the Gita by heart? And he just said, yes. That's it. Yeah, I remember being pretty blown away by that class and his Yoga Sutra class, man. But what do you believe do you believe in levitation?
I don't think so, man. I really don't think so. It doesn't make sense.
Okay, man. I'm just gonna put it out there. Look, I know that you're highly qualified academically, and I know that you have a master's in psychology, and I know that everything you've done in your life is fantastic and through research. But now, if you put all that aside, if this could be edited out of the podcast, and I asked you just Varun to Shivam, Vinod Vidwans in our class, do you believe he was lying?
I don't believe he... Dude, those aren't the only two eventualities, man. See, maybe he really believes that he saw some people levitate, right? But me saying that I don't think levitation exists doesn't mean that I think he's lying, bro. What the fuck? No, all I'm saying is, see, is there a chance people can levitate just without any help and just with the power of their mind? Sure. I mean, there is a possibility. Like, nothing is just because it hasn't been done doesn't mean it can't be done. So there's definitely a possibility.
Right.
The likelihood of that happening, though, is very low. Let's be honest, man.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
No one we ever know personally have seen it, and neither have we. So
right. But again, if you're talking about science would say that's no reason for you to say something doesn't exist. Right.
Right. Right.
That's the whole scientific process. But at the same...
So
what?
Levitation does exist outside the earth, but what we're saying is it doesn't exist on the earth. Disconnection from gravity, basically.
Disconnection?
So we're saying on earth, it's not... It does exist. It just doesn't exist here, if you know what I'm saying.
Bro, see, it's like... Dude, I don't know anything about physics, man, so I feel really stupid answering this question. And that's what I'm going to say. What I would say is, you just made it sound real fancy, like gravity and shit, right? Like gravity standing on gravity, But the thing is, like, how can a human being manifest reverse gravity when there's gravity all around, like just by themselves? Like, how?
Fair enough.
It's like that. It's like that One Punch. Have you seen that thing? There's this guy on YouTube, Ishan shared this with me, Ishan Kajara.
Yeah.
And Ishan is like, dude, this guy is some kung fu master and all. There's some Indian kung fu master who basically shares a lot of this shit. And he talks like politics. He talks all kinds of stuff like motivation and all. And you're supposed to listen to him because he's really good at karate and shit. Like, he has like clips of him doing it.
Right.
So he tried to do this whole 4-inch punch thing. Right. And he's like, they wanted to show that he was able to make someone fly. Right. So first of all, it wasn't a 1-inch punch. Okay.
Right.
He literally like he kind of moved his hand all the way back and like kind of went ahead like with a whole big follow through. It wasn't a 4-inch punch. First thing.
Right.
Second thing, that guy he was punching was skinny as fuck. And he was off balance, man. He was completely off balance. Right. He didn't know what the fuck was going on. He fell down. There were tables around him. He fell down. He almost hit his head. And this guy put this shit on YouTube, bro. So now, what are you going to do, man? There's always guys like these that claim to have like bullshit. But, okay.
Right. No, fair enough.
Coming from Vinod, sir, that was like, yeah. That's what made it more credible.
Yeah, that was a hard one, right? That was... Right, yeah. That was a hard one only from that perspective. I think I would have discredited it from like a million miles away had it not been him. But did I tell you about Sumedh, Jehan and my experience with what we thought was semi-disconnection from gravity?
What?
When we were cycling to Goa, the bikes rolling uphill on their own.
Oh, yeah. What happened, man?
Yeah. So we were cycling and there were a lot of hills and slopes. We were cycling on our way to Goa and there were a lot of like ups and downs. So after a while, you become very sensitive to inclination, right? You know how inclined it is. You know how hard you have to pedal. And we reached this one stage. Bike only rolls so much on flat land. And you know that if you're going uphill and you have momentum, it only goes so far and then you have to pedal again. Yeah. But there was this one time when we were really tired and it was 7 p.m. and we'd been cycling the whole day where we were going uphill, but with the slightest touch, the bike would go a significant amount. And you've been doing the same pedal for days.
Yeah, so you gotta know what's happening.
You understand like calibration, sensitivity, how far, what, inclination. You get a good sense of that. And I had the experience that I touched the pedal and the bike would go uphill and it was like weird, but you're also really tired and it's kind of dark, so you doubt yourself. But then it happens repeatedly for that stretch. And I didn't talk about it because I thought it was hallucinating or something.
Yeah.
But I remember a couple of days later, casually brought it up and Sumedh had the same experience at that time.
Oh.
And he told me that he had the same experience, but he thought he was crazy as well. And Jehan had a semi-similar experience, but Sumedh was very clear on the fact that he had that experience. Whoa. And then we don't know what it was. And then we Googled it, and then apparently there's certain places where there's magnetic rock,
right,
or some different alignment. But I don't even know what the bikes are made of. One would have to research into that, what metal they are and how that works. But apparently, so then we ran it by Rahul sir, if you remember. Dodd.
Oh yeah.
What was his name? Maya ma'am's husband.
Chopra. Rahul
what was
Chopra.
his surname? Rahul Chopra. Yeah. So we ran it by Rahul sir, and he asked us where it was. And apparently there are some magnetic rocks in that area that changes that. If I remember correctly, it was somewhere near Jaitapur. But that was a weird experience, man. But I don't know how magnetic rock affects what metals, what the bikes are made of. But I definitely felt that, and Sumedh definitely felt it. Not like you were just sitting and the bike was moving uphill on its own, but definitely minuscule effort for a lot of momentum on its own. Yeah, that was pretty interesting. Not levitation, but something along
that's insane. So apparently there are a lot of these places in, there are a couple of places in South Africa, and like a lot of my friends, when they go touring, they have these kind of same experiences. People say it's one of two things.
The car goes.
One of it could be the magnetic thing that you were saying, and another people say it could be an optical illusion. So the road itself is in a certain way, but the way the landscape kind of fits, it seems like you're going uphill, but you're actually going downhill. So it could be one of the two, man.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I've always had this. What do you think about ghosts, man? Do you think ghosts exist?
You won't believe it, man. You know what I was watching yesterday? I was watching Ghostbusters. It's so funny that you asked this. And like, it's the 2016 one with Chris Hemsworth. And I just kind of I wanted to watch something fun and different, and I put it on. It was a really good movie, man. Like, it's a really well-made film and pretty engaging.
Is it the original, Chris? Is it the original? Oh.
I mean, it's the original franchise, but the 2016 remake with 3 girls, and Chris Hemsworth plays a dumb male secretary. But it was anyway. Point being, getting back to ghosts. it was refreshing to see a fun movie's depiction of a ghost as opposed to what we see in other movies, which is their depiction was this blue glowing thing with the red eyes and green slime. And it's just funny to see that. But talking about ghosts, I don't know, man. I've never had an experience with ghosts. I had one shady experience once, but I'm not going to talk about that here. But I've never seen a ghost. I've never experienced a ghost. I don't know. What are your beliefs on that?
Yeah. No, I don't know, man. The jury's out on that one, man, because I can't see it. But like I know that like there's no like scientific reason for ghosts to exist. I completely get that.
Right.
But then I speak to a couple of watchmen, man.
Listen, man, I told you, because I stayed up at night, stop calling me watchman, bro.
The thing is with watchmen, the problem is that whenever you speak to them, I don't know why, man, but have you ever had a watchman tell you ghost stories?
You know, now that you say it, I remember a ghost story through one of the Kashid watchmen, but I heard it secondhand through his narration.
Exactly.
Secondhand through his narration.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, they always talk about having some experience with ghosts. Where they have spoken one-on-one with ghosts, it's usually these witch chudel, right? They talk about chudel. Mere ko chudel dikhi. And these chudels are the ones that basically the ones with the feet backwards. That myth is there. White sari, feet backwards. These two things have to be there, right? And then this, for some reason, the person always wants to attack the watchman, right?
Right.
And for some reason, the watchman always gets one thing debilitated. I had a watchman in my building who claimed that while he was sleeping, he got attacked by a ghost.
Right.
And he literally held his hand by his chest, right?
Right.
For a week. He didn't do shit. He just kept holding his hand by his chest like for a week. He genuinely believed that he could not move his hand.
Right.
And he claimed it was because a ghost attacked him.
That must have been pretty scary living in that building and seeing that, because A, it was a ghost. B, he pretended to hold his hand for a week, which is fucking scary anyway. That someone would go to that length. Both options are pretty fucking scary to me, man. I don't know how do you feel about it. I would be scared. Living.
And you know what's fucked up? What's fucked up is that on the third floor of my building, like way back when,
don't say this, man.
In the 90s, right? Way back. The building right next to mine, and you guys can look that up if you want to, but there was a maternity hospital in the 90s.
Oh, fuck.
And way back when, a lady who was kind of, I don't know if she was pregnant or if she already had the kid, but she kind of did a murder-suicide there. So she killed her kid. I don't know if it was like in her womb or if it had been born. And she killed herself on the third floor of my building. And this was an incident that happened. Like she just kind of wandered into my building and like did it way back when. And it was a huge thing.
Fuck,
and a lot of people, and when he described, now this guy didn't know about this experience, right? He didn't know that this had happened. But when he described what the ghost looked like, he said it was a lady and the lady's baby.
No fucking way. Are you serious?
Yeah, man.
That's messed up, man. That's messed up.
How the fuck did he do that, bro? So I don't know, man.
That's messed up.
It's hard. It's hard to say, man. I'm not saying ghosts exist or anything. I definitely believe like they don't exist, 100%.
Right.
But
No. I know stories like this, man, and yeah, those make you think. So I'll share one along similar lines. So we were on a school camp, and this guy was from the army, our camp leader. His name was Majid. Really cool guy. You know, very non-spiritual, conspiracy theory, ghostly kind of guy. Very like practical and real, right? I'm stereotyping here, but bear with me. He told us a similar story, which made my hair stand. I think it was Holy Family Hospital in Bombay. where a lady came in who was pregnant, and the receptionist told her to go to the fourth floor. And she was with her husband, and they asked the husband to wait downstairs.
Yeah.
So she went up to the fourth floor, and she was waiting for a doctor, something like that. And I'm paraphrasing here because I don't remember all the details. But the husband waited, and after 20 minutes, the wife didn't come down, right? So it was kind of weird. And then they went to check, and they couldn't find the wife. But he's at the bottom of the hospital. It's strange, right? Like, what do you mean you can't find the wife?
Yeah.
So they checked out the rooms. They couldn't find her. They asked the receptionist, etc., something. Oh no, I'm missing one key detail, but I think the husband dropped her off to the fourth floor, came down, something like that.
So he saw her.
Something really, yeah, he saw her go up, and then they couldn't find her at all.
Yeah.
And they looked all around, and they didn't find her, and they didn't know what's up and where she is, and they looked more. And then this became like an overnight thing, and they didn't find her, which was extremely strange. And they asked then the person downstairs asked the husband, "Who did you give her to?" So he said, "I don't remember the name of the person on the fourth floor." I mean, how am I supposed to remember her name? But I handed her over, and it became like a big case at that point. So finally, they said, "This is really bizarre." They didn't find her 2 days, 3 days. Now things like really weird, right? The person's probably dead, or like
some shit happened.
Run away. Where did they? Yeah, some shit's gone down if it's like 3 days. So they opened the directory of the hospital at that point, right, of employees, and took him through the photographs of all the employees and their registration to find out which employee he had seen, right, because he didn't know the name. And then finally, after like going through many, he narrowed in on one person, but they said she's no longer with the hospital, and she had left about a year ago, and she had died, actually. She was actually dead. So that was like really weird, right? Like the employee that he thought he saw still could be an error, maybe someone looks like someone. That employee was dead, and she had died under strange circumstances where she was an assistant to a body, to a doctor doing something with a cadaver. And apparently cadavers can move. If you press something can move. And basically what had happened, a hand had moved of the cadaver because the doctor had pulled something inside, something that is known medically, and that sent her into shock, and she had a cardiac arrest and died, apparently, right? So at this point the story starts getting really wild, and you're like, dude, this is out of hand. But then Majid was like, you can check the newspaper, the story is in the papers, right? And at which point you're like, okay, it's a little more credible, but it's still a little outlandish. But the end of the story was that the sister who was downstairs that night on the ground floor was his mom, who had seen on the ground floor of Holy Family, was Majid's mom. So this situation was like a first-hand experience of his mom, who was down, told the family go upstairs.
Right.
So when you hear a story like this, when someone doesn't have an incentive to really make one up, and it's like written about in the press, it really leaves you wondering. But then again, like, I've never personally experienced a ghost.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but these make you wonder sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like also they could have like some kind of psychological benefit, like thinking ghosts exist.
I agree.
Supposing like imagine we all grew up, we were hunter gatherers, man. We used to live in the fucking forest up until like just 1,000 years ago. Like out of the millions of years that we've been around, and like our immediate ancestors have been around, like in terms of species, we all lived in the fucking forest, man. So when someone says don't go out in the night in the dark because there might be ghosts there, those ghosts may be real in that they could be predators that you don't want to name. So you don't tell a kid, hey man, don't go out there, there could be a lion that could eat you, right? Because that's too vivid, that's too much. You're gonna that kid's gonna be scared in the daytime walking around as well. But if you say there are ghosts in the night in the forest, what's going to happen is that kid's going to be afraid of the dark. He's going to learn, or she's going to learn, to come to places which have light. And over a period of time, that might be a thing.
That's That's a very interesting way of putting it. Yeah, for sure, man. Do you think it could also have psychological benefits for the person who's seen the ghost? Bear with me, like the Watchman, for
Yeah.
example. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I have a Hindi coach and a friend, Ashok sir, who grew up in a small town and was fascinated by how women in his town would be possessed uh, by a chudel
Yeah.
for a period of a couple of weeks, and then someone would come and cure them, and he'd see this
Yeah.
over and over again over the years. So he actually sat and he shared his insights with me briefly. Is he wanted to understand, do ghosts exist? Who do they choose? Do they not exist? What's at play here? But his inference was they do not exist, and they target. And I'm not stereotyping. This is his observation,
Go for it,
right?
man.
They target young women in who are newly married and extremely unhappy in their marriage due to a relationship with the mother-in-law. Bear with me. This is his real observation on the ground. And his interpretation was whether the narrative is so strong that they believe it. It's some sort of call for attention. And I don't mean attention as in like drama attention, but the need to be cared for,
To be
to
seen.
be looked after, to be seen, to be significant, to be cared for, because then everyone takes care of them in the
Yeah.
house, calling people to heal them, and it's a process of weeks, and then things become okay from there. This was his observation, sharing it totally non-judgmentally. This is what he's seen growing up over time. So I was just wondering if there's psychological benefits for like a watchman seeing a ghost.
Yeah,
I don't
man.
know.
Yeah, I mean, even those guys, right? Even I'm sure you must have seen like videos of those guys who like shaking all over the place, and like they're gyrating, they're shaking, like they've got some shit. And then
Yeah.
this happened actually to someone I know.
Sounds like my dynamic meditation. Sorry, you saying?
No, I was saying this happened to someone I know, man. One of their students, like they were a teacher, and one of the students in the class, like very nice, very docile kid, like probably goes through something in school. Sorry, probably went through something at home, and she suddenly just loses her mind and starts like giving the most abusive, like the most aggressive curse words in Hindi ever, right? And she goes into this whole weird mode, right? This is like it's super crazy. Everyone was like,
Right.
"This is not her. This cannot be her. This is not this person." And
Right.
everyone figured this person is completely like there's something evil in this person, shit like that. As a
Right.
kid, I think it's like as someone who's studied psychology and like I'm not diagnosing her, but I can tell this is kind of like a dissociative episode. This is an episode where like you like this is a weird coping mechanism to something, to a stress, either a stressful situation which is
Right.
happening consistently in school or at home, right? That's I mean, I
Right.
don't think
Right.
anyone would deny that. But
Right.
what's funny is that if you were to take this individual with these psychological problems to these faith healer fucks, right?
Right.
And that person will do their whole fucking that shit, and then you're like, "Ooh, fucking take some jhadu and put it over your face and shit like that, and then it might cure you, right? It can actually legitimately cure you for a short period of time
Right.
because it's the placebo effect.
Right. Right.
Same thing with homeopathy, man.
Right.
Do you know about homeopathy?
Right. Yeah. So I mean, I haven't studied too much of homeopathy, but basically the belief that it cures you to a large extent. Other than, I mean, they claim, I don't know too much, so I shouldn't put it out there, but uh, hormesis is where you give a small amount of the poison to create a response by the body to not be affected by that, along with a large amount of placebo, from my understanding.
Dude, your understanding is pretty fucking good. Yeah, that's it. Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's basically they dilute the shit out of that one medicine which is actually effective, thinking that if they
Right.
give you a super low dose, it's going to be effective. It is not.
Right.
But
Right.
the reason why it works is because of a placebo effect. I went to a homeopathist, right? And this my mom took me because of my breathing, right? My breathing was fucked.
Right.
And it turns out it's basically because of polluted places. I've lived other places like which weren't as polluted as Mumbai, and everything was fine. But my mom took me to this homeopathist, and this dude was like, started asking me all kinds of personal questions, man. When did you first get a girlfriend? Are you someone who likes to talk to different people or not?
He's got a nice snake-like French.
Yeah. He was like very like, and he was writing it shit down like to make it seem like official.
Yeah.
Fucking, and then he thought it over. Like he thought about it. That like once I gave all my answers, he's like, मुझे लगता है इसको ये देना पड़ेगा. And then he made some fucking weird ass pouches, and he gave it to me. And my mom was like, "Have this." Like, I'm not fucking having it. Like, I'm not having this. I'm sorry. I said I'm not having it. I had it once in front of her, but then after that, I never had it again.
Yeah.
Sugar pills, man.
Sugar pills, man. I have a different theory on homeopathy.
What is it?
Is they give you those little sugar pills with alcohol, sugar, right? Yeah. And my theory is this, dude, they're delicious,
they're tasty as fuck.
Like, they're so yum. Yeah, like, sometimes, dude, I'd have, like literally have half the bottle or finish a bottle in a day, even if it's supposed to have, like, 6 to 8 pills, right? But my theory is, they give you some really small dose, like 2 tablets twice a day for a week, right? My belief is that if I have the discipline to actually have 2 tablets twice a day and not overdo it, right, and have it consistently, I think that discipline only like takes care of half your health ailments if you can be that disciplined. You know what I mean?
What the fuck are you talking about, man? What if you have something chronic? What do you have? Sleep apnea? You can't control sleep apnea.
No, not that. Not something as chronic as sleep apnea, but something like IBS. IBS probably not all IBS, but like bad eating habits, eating in a rush, missing meals. I feel like that discipline routine discipline can cure mild chronic things.
Surely, bro.
My theory.
Surely, bro. Yeah, but then do the thing which is discipline, right?
Asthma and sleep. Yeah.
Then in that case, do what's discipline. Like, do the discipline, right? Like, for example, if I like just eat on time, like, bitch, like, you don't need to fucking have sugar pills.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I have a damn funny anecdote, man. I don't know if I ever told you this. What? When I was a kid, I used to get this crazy cough and sneezing. Like, dude, it was like coronavirus back then, man. It was mad, like crazy. It was nuts. It used to happen at night, and like sneezing and coughing and phlegm, like real physical phlegm would fall out.
Was it yellow, thick?
I don't remember, but it was thick. I don't know if it was yellow. And my mom would bring this fun medicine. I told you this. In this small beautiful glass jar, frosted with a white cap. And she'd take it out as beautiful, thick, cold gel and she'd rub it on my chest, right? 10 minutes, I was fucking fine, right? And she only used to bring this out like in emergencies, not all the time. And 2 drops. And I used to ask her where it's from. And I don't remember the value, but it was something like then 20 or 50 or 100 rupees per drop or some ridiculous thing. Like a bottle would cost like over 1,000 in those days. It's like when I was 10. And she used to put it in and you'd feel this cold feeling and I'd be fine, right? And I used to ask her what's the name, and she told me it's called TLC, and they buy it from this chemist, and they only sell it drop-wise and all. And dude, I swear to God, I was fine until years later. I think when I was 12 or 13, I said, "Mom, what's that medicine?" Very casually asked her, TLC, what did it stand for? So she just smiled. She's like, nothing. So I was like, no, what did it stand for? She's like, tender loving care. So I'm like, haha, no, actually, Mom, what did it stand for? Where did you get it from? She's like, no, Varun, seriously, tender loving care. I was like, Mom, you can't have a medicine called that. What do you mean? So she's like, no, it wasn't. It was just my cold cream that I used to put on you and I made up the narrative. But it worked. Man. It worked. So I really believe in the placebo effect. And it's...
Dude, it works, man. It works. Sometimes, nowadays, like... I know I'm going to get a lot of shit from a few people listening to this, but I've been taking melatonin, man, to sleep sometimes.
That's great.
Yeah, dude. But here's the thing. I took it a couple of times. I put it in my... So the thing is, to transition, it's outside. So I put it in my pocket.
Right.
And then, like, I have it. But one of these times, I'm like, fuck, this melatonin is really hitting me. I'm really feeling sleepy. Oh. And then I checked my pocket and I hadn't taken it yet. I felt like such a fucking idiot, man. I was like, does this even work, or am I just making this up in my head? And
yeah, man, faith moves mountains.
Yeah.
That's what they say. Oh, that's cute, man. That's really cool.
Yeah, bro. But sometimes it's, where it's really getting fucked up nowadays? You can have faith in different kinds of things, man. You can have faith that things like, you might get, like, if you're applying for a job and like you're constantly applying, you're doing a good job, then you can have faith that maybe you'll get a job if you do everything right. You can have faith in different kinds of things. You can have faith in the world around you, in the good nature of human beings and things like that. Yeah, for sure. You can like have faith there, and it definitely helps. It helps, I feel like, take a lot of pressure off your own chest and things like that.
Right.
But you can't have faith when it comes to science, right? You can't have faith when it comes to like not getting the coronavirus if you're walking around in public without a mask.
Oh yeah. And
people
that's scary,
people seem to get that shit confused. Like you can't do that. You can't walk around I know people who have walked around in public without a mask and have ended up fucking giving the coronavirus to their families.
What are you saying? Really?
Yeah. And they're like,
that's
bullshit.
That's really stupid. I met someone the other day who wasn't wearing a mask, so I was standing like 12, 13 feet apart. But the person believes that with a mask, but that person believes that they have microgreens, so cannot get the coronavirus. It's not possible for them. Greens. Green juice, basically a mixture of green juices, and believes that they're immune to the coronavirus. But they believe that, and that's fine. You can believe that. But for other people, wear your mask and keep distance, man. You know what I mean? For those who don't believe in microgreen immunity. But that's faith. I mean, that's faith in a wrong sense, in my opinion.
Yeah, man.
And I wish that they don't get it, but at the same time, like, they're responsible for other people.
They are, man. They are responsible for the people around them. Like, I hope that they don't have to go through the pain of getting it. But I hope that they have some kind of reality check as well. Like, I hope that when people act ignorant like that, I feel like reality...
I hope they get a really bad cold and get scared out of their fucking lives and think it's
or something like checks them. Because, I mean, if they're acting like this...
bad upon them, but
I mean, if they're acting like this in one place in their life, I'm sure they're acting like that in some other place in their life as well, man. Like, if you're doing this kind of faith healing bullshit in one place in your life, I'm sure you've kind of... You believe things will be better in some other place in your life, and you probably won't. Right? So it's that same shit about The Secret, right? Like, oh yeah, fuck, I've left, like, I've thrown my energies in this direction, and everything's gonna be better. Is it really, man? No, dude, it's not gonna be better. Like, unless you change something, it's not gonna actually be better. You can believe it's gonna be better as much as you like, but as long as you don't take action, it's not gonna fucking happen for you. No way.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah. I'm starting to believe more and more and see that, like, action is the most important thing, because if that's not taken, like, even good action with moderate intention is better than great intention with no action, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In terms of outcome.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I've noticed, dude, 100%. I've noticed, like, the most, like, dude, that guy from our batch who became this motivational speaker and drum circle guy, right?
Rujul.
Yeah, I don't want to take his name.
Yeah, sorry. Which some guy, yeah.
You know that dude, right?
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I know that dude. Just beat that out.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I personally had no respect for the guy because the way he kind of carried himself and all, like, in school. Like, I didn't... I thought he was very unintelligent. I had no respect for him, frankly. But then, as soon as he left school, he got himself to just take action on what he liked to do. He liked to do the drum circle things.
Yeah.
Kept doing that.
Yeah.
Kept giving speeches, like to interact with people around him. And that was his thing. And he just kept doing his thing. Just kept doing, didn't question, kept doing, didn't question. And he's doing really well, man. And then, a few people I know who kind of questioned, including myself. Like, it took me a long time to take action, dude. So I really do agree, man. Like, you can't think yourself out of an
beautiful point.
Action situation, man. Like, there are so many people I know who just take action and then just do a great fucking job with it. And some people who think it through and then don't.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, and even I wouldn't take it as far as saying even bad intention with good action may not be a bad thing. You know what I mean?
Bad intention with good action.
Yeah.
Maybe a good thing.
May not be a bad thing. I mean, just putting it out there as an extreme for conversation, not reality. But like, suppose someone wants to help other people in their intention but does nothing. And maybe someone helps other people for selfish reasons but does something.
Yeah.
Which is a better outcome for reality.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think all of us help other people for selfish reasons anyway. I mean, but I get what you're saying. Enough. Like, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, so I mean, what I would consider would like, you know, a selfish reason would be like, say for instance, I go out to I go out to give people money, right? Like I go out to make a donation at the,
and then you post about it.
Yeah, online. And then I post about it online, right?
Yeah, it's better than sitting at home and saying I wish the world well.
Yeah, yeah, I guess so.
I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. Is it? Where does that stand? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I feel like
it's a strange.
Yeah, no, I agree, man.
It's no definite answer. Just putting it out there as a question.
That's a good question.
We don't have to have an answer.
That's a good question.
Yeah, don't have to have an answer.
No. Yeah, I just saw.
That's why I said moderate intention earlier instead of bad intention.
Yeah, I saw an example of this actually just today. You know, there's this dude, there's this Turkish guy. He's a cook. He's a very smiley fellow. He keeps like, he makes these he'll make a chula in the middle of the ground. He'll dig it, and then he'll cook something in it, and like he'll show the video, and he's smiling through the whole thing. He's on Instagram. I don't know his name because his name is Turkish, so I can't like pronounce it. But anyway, he got this guy on his, like he made like a 1 minute long like Instagram video of like this dude. He didn't have any teeth, and he bought this guy like a set of teeth and like installed it and shit like that for him. But he put that whole thing on Instagram, right?
Right.
So you know his intention may not really be to see that guy without the teeth to be happy.
Right.
His intention might be, I need content for my Instagram. And one thing is to probably get this guy to fucking like be nice to this guy.
Yeah. So it's a gray area.
Yeah, it's a gray area.
Yeah, I know someone who told me an interesting thing because I was talking to a relative of mine about being in the moment, enjoying the moment versus sort of taking a picture.
Right.
She told me something interesting. She said, why can't both be done simultaneously? Why can't you enjoy the moment and record it to look back fondly at in the future? Why can't you do both? Why does it have to be an and or? It's like, makes sense.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah. Why can't you record it as a milestone? Why can't you really enjoy the moment and enjoy recording it as a milestone to look back positively at in the future?
Yeah, man.
But that won't apply to something like this. Obviously,
I think it should, man. I think it should apply to something like this. I definitely think it should, because I feel like we really, really beat each other up by questioning each other's intentions, man. I feel like we beat ourselves up, we beat each other up by just constantly saying, you know, am I doing this the right reasons? Why am I doing this? Why do you want... Like, I got on a call with this guy, man. He's a very nice guy. He's a very sweet guy. The conversation was amazing. One of the guests on the podcast. And the first few questions, he kept asking me why. Like, why do you want to do this? Why do you want to do this? Maybe you don't need to know why. Like, maybe I'm just doing it because I'm doing it. Like, that problem doesn't need to be a big why behind everything that you do. Like, there hasn't...
maybe you don't even need to know why.
Some people don't. Right?
Yeah. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Yeah.
I know a lot of people will be like, fuck it, I want to do, man. And it's not like they're fucking doing bullshit, right? I know some of the most artistic and most creative people go forwards. They don't think about their intention, their space. They just say, okay, I really like this experience. I enjoy how my senses are feeling in this situation, and I'm just going to keep doing that. And some beautiful things have come out of that. There's no absolute one way to be, man.
Do you remember Samir Duble? Name? So, Samir sir, in one of his classes, a singing class, I think, posed this question that really baffled everyone in class and myself. and we spent 2 classes on the question.
What was the question?
A guru and his disciple. Well, I don't know. I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember. Man. But one of them asked the other, saying, why do you sing? Why do you sing?
Yeah.
Right? Why do we sing? Why do you sing? One asked the other. And Samir sir asked us what we thought the answer would be. Yeah. Right? And then I think and we spent days, like that entire day and the next entire class, guessing what we thought the answer would be. Why do you sing? Why? Like, what is the why? What is the why? And we had like all these intelligent, like well-meaning, profound theories of what the guru would say. And he just said, I sing because I feel like singing, so I sing. And that was really like, maybe your why is a feeling. Maybe for an art, your why is a feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Some people want to be creative. Some people really need to discover it. Like, I've met artists who really wanted to know their why, and who have been lost without it at a certain point. Like they got really good, and then they were like, okay, why am I doing this? And then they started kind of ask them why. And that's fine.
Right.
But
but maybe for smaller day-to-day things, it could just be, you feel like doing something, man. We gave him a hug because I feel like, man, not to spread good through humanity, through my being or something. I just wanted to give you I felt like, man.
And even if I do something nice, and even if at the end, the ultimate reason why I'm doing something nice is for myself, right?
Right.
Like, even, fuck it. Like, even if there's no material, like, thing that I'm getting out of doing something good for someone else.
Yeah.
I'm feeling good, right? At least I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
By doing it.
Yeah.
It's still selfish. Yeah. If I didn't feel good by doing something good for someone else, I wouldn't do it.
Right.
But does that mean that I'm an asshole for doing that? No, right? Like,
likely not. Yeah.
I'm doing something nice. So why fucking question it? Simple, man. Like, if someone's contributing to society, right, in any kind of way, what sense does it make to question it? Right. Like, I know so many people who are dancers, right? Like, because they're dancers, especially male dancers. So, like, they like, male dancers are, first of all, they're great dancers and they're great people. But they always walk around like really sad and sullen. Like, why, man? They're like, man, nobody respects what I do. They're like, I dance, and like, I'm like, bro, but you dance so well. What the fuck's the problem? Like, no, man. Like, my mom doesn't like me, and like, when I go home, like, nobody shows me love, and I need to travel like 2 hours back and forth from work, things like that. And people keep saying, why do you want to be a dancer? Like, what do I get out of it? Things like that.
Right.
Like, I just like to dance, man. I like those poses. I like to like flaunt my movement. I'm like, whatever you like, it's your thing, bro. It's what you like.
That's sweet, man. That's
so
sweet.
you do what you do. But
do you think they see ghosts? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No. I'm kidding. That was mean. No, but yeah, whatever feels right to you. Whatever feels right.
Yeah, I mean, I realize the same thing could be true of anything, man. Like, even working out, right? Like, a lot of people say, "Oh, why do you want to work out, man? What's the reason why? Why do you want to work out?" Right? Like, there should be a reason, man. You have to have goals, bro. You got to set yourself some goals to work out. No, you don't have to, man. Right? Like, there doesn't have to be like a big why.
Right.
Some people, early on, I used to work out because, I wanted to get myself to be strong. I felt like a pussy. I didn't feel like this thing. But now lately, past 2-3 months, I realized that the reason why I work out is, and that might change, right? Your reasons. I like it because it just tires the shit out of me. Like, I like to be tired because otherwise I'd be like up really late in the night and doing all kinds of stupid bullshit. And then I'm just going to be like, fine, fuck it.
Man, I envy that energy, man. I envy like high energy people who have to do things to get tired.
No, this is off late, man. This is off late.
No, you've always been high energy. Come on. You've always had to like contain it, right? Yeah. Contain it. Like, weirdly, most of my friends fall in that category and I fall in the opposite.
Dude, I think you're high energy too, man. What are you talking about? You're high energy as well, man.
I feel like I need a lot of things. Maybe it's a psychological effect, but I need a lot of things in line to be high energy. I need to sleep. I need to eat. I need to do some physical activity. I have a propensity to chill and lie back. Whereas, like,
bro, you're chill. You're laid back, but you're still high energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, if, for example, I think some people might think high energy is like extroverted, like someone who's like
right,
out there doing. But you could be like super high energy and be chill as well. That's still high energy, right?
I never thought of that
You're high
possibility.
energy,
I
man.
always thought of high energy like bouncing off the walls, like flying, and yeah, I didn't think of that possibility. Interesting. Nice stat, bro.
Oh, thanks, man.
Just give me a second. I'm just gonna get a glass of water.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think we should also wrap this up, man.
Okay.
It's been an hour 23 minutes.
I was feeling that in the air, and I was like, how do you call cut in the middle of a conversation?
No, I'm just saying we should wrap it up, bro. I think that's enough for us to wrap it up, man.
Done, man.
All right, bro. Thank you so much, man. Love you. Also, do you want to share anything? How can people get in touch with you? Things like that.
Yeah, sure, man. Get in touch on Instagram. Get in touch through my number. I love to chat. I love to make new friends, work related, whatever.
Sweet, awesome,
always
man.
makes me happy.
If any of y'all want to get in touch with Varun, Varun's an actor. He's a model. He does this shit professionally. He's not just an Instagram model. If that's what the fuck you think he's saying, he actually does this shit for people pay him to pose, and he does that stuff. He also does acting. He's acted in plays. He's acted in movies, in all kinds of crazy productions, and he's very professional at what he does. He's an amazing voice actor as well, as you probably guessed. So go ahead and get in touch with him. I will put his Instagram out there, and if any of y'all get in touch with either him or me, y'all could get his contact details as well. I am not about to put his contact details in the description of a video, but it will be available.
No, that's fine. That's fine. It's I am Varun Patel on Instagram, and just DM me and I'll respond.
So that's I am Varun Patel on Instagram.
I am Varun Patel on Instagram. Yeah.
All right, sweet, man. Thank you so much, Varun.
Yeah. Thanks, man, Shivam. Always good chatting.
Fun, man.
See you,
bro.